Passage 3, page 172. Questions 10 through 13. Listen to part of a lecture in a zoology class.
Okay, so we've discussed a few defense mechanisms that different animals employ to protect themselves. Speed, size, venom, and sharp claws and teeth all give specific defensive abilities to animals. But there are many other subtle ways animals can behave to defend themselves. That is, apart from fight or flight. One of the more peculiar ways that some animals avoid harm from attackers is to simply pretend to be dead. And this is exactly the defense strategy that the opossum uses. So, what on earth is an opossum?
Is that the same possum as the one that gets into your garbage cans here in the U.S.?
Aha! Take a look at this picture. The answer is that yes, an opossum, spelled with an O, is commonly known here as just possum. Now, there's a different animal in Australia whose name actually is possum, spelled without the O. They really don't look all that much alike, as you can see. Okay, so I grew up calling them possums, and as far as I'm concerned, you can call them what you always have, or you can go around and try correcting everyone else. You make that choice for yourself. But as a representative of the academic establishment, I guess I should call things by their agreed-upon names. So, opossum it is. So, the opossum is a marsupial, as actually is the Australian possum. A marsupial's an animal that carries its young in a pouch on the front of its body through most of the offspring's development, instead of having the baby develop completely inside the mother's body. Kangaroos are probably the best-known marsupials, and you've probably seen pictures of their tiny, hairless babies when they're born. Opossums also give birth to extremely tiny babies, less than a half an inch or 13 millimeters long, that crawl into their mother's pouch for the first few months. After that, they cling to their mother's backs for another 2 months. Okay, so that's enough of the background on these animals. Let's get on to their odd defensive behavior. Now, as anyone who has come across an opossum can attest, the first thing they do is hiss and make a big noisy racket to try to intimidate any would-be attacker. Remember, intimidation of enemies is usually a tactic of animals that are capable of fighting well, but it's also useful to those who are essentially bluffing or just pretending to be tough. Opossums are a case of the latter, and if really pressed, they'll drop to the ground, stiffen up completely, and emit a foul stench that smells like a dead animal. I see a few hands raised, and I'm going to ask for your patience for just a second. I want to finish this description, and then I'll take any questions that I haven't already answered. One question that is always asked is this: how could animals be fooled into thinking that something they just saw showing its teeth, snarling and hissing, could suddenly be dead long enough to smell so badly? 2 immediate responses I have are these. First of all, we can't project the same logical reasoning abilities onto animals that we use as humans. We can't assume that we understand how animals think. Let me just reiterate the importance of that for future reference, because one of the biggest mistakes students make when studying animals, even in upper division courses, is attributing human motivations to animal behavior. We absolutely cannot assume that the motivation behind the action of an animal is the same as that of a human. But back to opossums in particular. The other reason why an opossum playing dead might work to help it successfully defend itself is this simple fact. If something smells like a dead animal, it might be better not to eat it. So, it's from this defense mechanism of pretending to be dead by not moving that the phrase playing possum comes. Now, to finish up this point, imagine another creature that can't run particularly fast, isn't all that big, doesn't have sharp teeth or claws or poison, and has been known to play possum. Humans as well. That is, when we are cornered by something we can't outrun or fight. We humans will sometimes pretend to be dead in order to survive. People have survived bear attacks, for example, by pretending to be dead until the bears gave up and went away. Okay, are there any questions that I haven't just answered?